Yeah.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of Teaching Live. If you were on half term last week, I hope you had a great time. The weather up here was fabulous during half term. Lots of nice sunny weather, so that really helped. I managed to get out on my bike quite a bit, which I love doing. But as usual, back at school and the weather's grotty again. So better stay in and do some grammar. How are you this morning, Pi?
I mean, I'm good actually. Yeah, I think the weather's a bit cold, and grey. So as you say, getting their heads down with a bit of grammar. And good to see everybody back. John Moore, Bolton Parish, St Patrick's, Lancaster Road, etc. So yeah, I'm ready. How about you, David? You were ill last time I saw you.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, 2 weeks ago, wasn't it? Yeah, I was. All better now, though. Firing on all cylinders. Looking forward to what the children are going to do. Always, do you know, Pi, always impressed, whether it's the creative writing session or the grammar session, impressed with how well the children do, especially with the technical stuff and the basics that we always go on about, the capital letter, the full stops, getting that out of the way so we can move on. I'm always impressed.
Yeah,
So
it's interesting, isn't it?
one thing that would really impress
Yeah.
me, David, would be if you next week you managed to put on a stripy blazer like Pi. I mean, this is this so Pi's blazer. I mean, not many people can get away with wearing a stripy blazer
Yeah,
at
team
home
captain.
during the day.
It actually says Team Reed. I'm on Team Reed. That's my. I saw it in an Oxfam shop. It was 50p, John. I saw it and I thought, I'm having that blazer. I'm in. I quite like Oxfam shops for, you get some quite good cheap stuff. Uh, so I'm very happy to shop in the Oxfam shop.
Well,
Cheaply.
I think you're looking sartorially very elegant this morning, Pi. So
Very
enough of this idle chit chat. We better get on with some grammar.
Absolutely. So we're going to have a look at, we're going to play, first of all, what I call the drop-in game, where you drop information into a sentence with a relative clause. There are different things that you can drop into a sentence. We're going to do the relative clause, and the relative clause relates back to, actually, John, if you get the teaching notes up, it's probably easiest because I've got it captured on one page there. But
I
it's
could,
you drop in a bit of information that relates back to the subject. So if you've got, my example is the silver unicorn ate all the apples. So that's your sentence. The silver unicorn ate all the apples. If you're going to drop information in about the silver unicorn, then it would be the silver unicorn. Here we go. Scroll down. Here it is. Which was hungry, ate all the apples. So the main relative pronouns are given at the top: which, that, whose, who, and whom. So one of you, partner A, comes up with a subject, like the silver unicorn or the old toothbrush or the shiny car. And then the partner drops in a relative clause. So you might say the shiny car, which was parked at the side of the road, and then partner A has to finish the sentence. And actually, in a way, that's the tricky bit. Couple of pointers. Who, used for people, so you can't say the old man which was starving. You have to say who was starving, picked up the banana. And then which is used for things. The bus, which was the cough, which John had just emitted, could easily be heard on the internet. Okay, so David, do you want to be partner A?
Yes, I'll be partner A to start with.
Okay,
With
so
my
you
blazer.
oh
yeah.
yes,
Oh yeah, the snazzy blazer, I know. So you start me off with a subject, then I'll give a relative clause. Then trickily, you've got to finish the sentence.
Okay, I'm going to go with the London bus.
Okay. Which had broken down.
Crawled along the road.
Okay, give me another one.
The so I'm going to go with the trees. Let's go with the enormous pine tree,
which had blown down in the storm. The enormous pine tree, which had blown down in the storm,
destroyed a row of cars.
Okay. So after 2 minutes, you swap over. Now, if you slightly scroll down, John, I mentioned the word that. And you use that when whatever it is that you put in is essential to the meaning. So turn the key that is red to the left. In other words, you've got to turn the red one, not the blue one or the green one. So it's essential to the meaning. Otherwise, it's which. Turn the key, which is painted red. No, which is, I don't know. Turn the key, which is on the sideboard to the left. It doesn't matter that it's on the sideboard particularly. So it's only when it's essential to the meaning. Anyway.
So if you said something like, press the button on the right.
Which is on the right, yes. That is on the right.
Press the button that is on the right.
Yes, that's right.
Essential to the meaning, because if you press the button that is on the left, you'd launch a nuclear bomb.
Exactly, you've got it.
Like that. Yes, yeah. So where if you get it wrong, there would be consequences.
There are consequences. After 2 minutes, we swap over, so we'll just do that. So, David, let me give you a subject. I'm going to give you the Lancashire cheese.
The Lancashire cheese. That
it's got to be a which.
Oh, sorry, which is mouldy.
Was rapidly eaten by J. Sutton. I can't give you another one. We haven't had a person yet. Well, it's got to be Donald Trump.
So I'm looking at who this one then.
Yeah, that's right.
Donald Trump, who enjoys golf.
Enjoys golf. Had all his clubs, his golf clubs, stolen from him. So I think people have got the idea. It's basically who or which, who for a person, which for an object, and you only use that if it's absolutely necessary to the meaning.
So in fact, I would kind of ignore, for the purposes of the game, I would ignore that.
Yes, probably best.
And stick to who or which. So who if it's a person, include it, even if it's a person where you haven't named them. So the old man who was starving. Now, Pi, if you had, if you talked about an animal, the old rabbit, would it be the old rabbit who was starving, or would it be the old rabbit which was starving?
I think it would be which was starving, unless you were writing a story like Varjak Poor,
where you named the rabbit.
Yeah, where you've named it and you brought it alive. The old rabbit Casper, who was etc. But I think it would be which, technically speaking.
Okay, so off we go. So I will just bring up my timer, which is just here. I will start 2 minutes on the clock. After 2 minutes, I will get you to swap over. So remember, the first person, just a subject, the old rabbit, the big bus, the grey aeroplane, whatever it might be. And then second person adds the relative clause, and then partner A has to finish the sentence off. So off, ready, off we go. Time to swap over. Okay, that sound signifies the end of the game. So if you bring your attention back to the screen, we will go straight to the TeachingLive session page for this morning's session. So your screen should say 4th of June grammar session 5. And we will jump straight to Padlet activity number 1. Right, so Pi's momentarily distracted, but do we have your attention, Pi?
You do. You have my full and undivided attention because we are, having had a quick play with the old relative clause, now we're going to have a go with conjunctions. I like conjunctions. Conjunctions are linking words. They're pretty easy to spot. I link one chunk to another. And obviously the one everyone knows is and. I like tea and I like coffee. That's called a coordinating one. There are two types, coordinating and subordinating. The coordinating ones are the simple ones that you get to use when you're in year 1, 2, possibly 3, and they link two sentences of equal weight. What that means is you could swap them round. I like coffee and I like tea, or I like tea and I like coffee. They've got the same weight. The subordinating ones are the more interesting ones, and they give us our subordinate clauses. If you remember the clause, chunk of words built around a verb, and you've got a main one, which is the one that's like a sentence and stands on its own. The subordinating, a little bit less important. It adds on extra information, and you can take it out, and it doesn't affect the meaning of the main sentence, the main clause. So I've listed some subordinating conjunctions there, John. And if you look at they lit the fire, that's the main clause. And then you can add a subordinating clause on when it grew dark, they lit the fire, or they lit the fire when it grew dark. So you can add them on at the front or at the end. Now, the interesting thing here is that, well, I find it interesting, all this stuff. If you have it at the front of the sentence, your subordinate clause with that conjunction, the when, that's it. You've got to, where there's a slight pause between the two events, the growing dark and the lighting fire, there's a slight pause. Listen to it. When it grew dark, they lit the fire. That's where you put the comma between the two things. It's different if you add it on at the end. They lit the fire when it grew dark. There isn't a pause there. You don't use a comma when you tag it on at the end. So we're going to use a conjunction to extend each sentence, either after or before the clause. The crowd was nervous. Now, I could add on, let me look at my choices. I'm going to go for because. The crowd was nervous because the juggler had burst into flames, full stop. Or I suppose I could have gone because the juggler had burst into flames, comma, the crowd was nervous. So you should be able to move it around. Mr. Toad approached in his sports car. Now I could add on, approaching his sports car. It's got to make sense. So they won't all work. While Mr. Toad approached in his sports car, while everyone was looking in the other direction. So it's got to make sense. So not every conjunction will necessarily work. But that, in essence, is the task, John. Extend the sentences using a subordinating conjunction.
Yeah, so we've got these. So you take, we've got 5 sentences here.
Yep.
We need to add a subordinate clause to each of these using a conjunction, a subordinating conjunction.
Absolutely right.
Okay, so let's go for see what we come up with.
You've just got to make sure that you've actually written something that makes sense, because not every subordinating conjunction will work.
Yep, so I've got one for the crowd was nervous, although the stage was empty. And so I could say, although the stage was empty, comma,
the crowd was nervous.
Crowd was nervous. Because perhaps they're expecting something to happen.
So I can see we've got nearly 90 machines on the go. Always good to see. Everyone's cracking on. Do them one at a time, so got a chance for a bit of feedback.
And don't forget to put your school name on the
I know David will be looking for capital letter full stop come what may.
You go from Lancaster Road. The
dear.
goblins attacked because they wanted the pot of gold from the rainbow. Great sentence, Hugo. Now turn that the other way round. Can you
And
do that one with the
because they wanted the pot of gold from the
pause at
rainbow,
the
comma.
yeah.
Yeah. He's also missed his full stop off, John. But
Oh,
first
yeah.
up, hold on.
The crowd was nervous as the acrobat attempted a dangerous trick. Yeah, that works.
Crowd was nervous, but there was nothing to be worried about. Don't need the comma, Hindi. Bilbo snuck into the cave while the dragon flew. The big cat
Yes.
released since the crowd was nervous.
So because you haven't, I just want to point that one back to Hindi at Bolton Parish, because you have used a coordinating conjunction and not a subordinating conjunction. Did you get that, Hindi? You can't turn that one around the other way around. But there was nothing to be worried about. The crowd was nervous.
Yeah,
Doesn't
doesn't work.
make sense. So this one, you don't need the comma there because you've used but. You can't put the clause at the front because you've got two clauses of equal weight. You've used a coordinating conjunction instead of a subordinating one. If that makes sense to you, Hindi.
It's quite a good little rule, that, John. When you're using the coordinating one, say you use and, the crowd was nervous and, you can't turn it around. You can't say, the crowd was nervous and they saw a dragon. You can't say and they saw a dragon, the crowd was nervous. It doesn't work. It only works with the subordinating ones. A few comments creeping in, which we don't need. So Christopher, the crowd who were nervous had nothing to fear. You've dropped a relative clause in, but unfortunately, we're all doing subordinating conjunctions.
There's one of these words here after, as soon as, because, before, even though, if, since, unless, when, and while.
Jacob and Ed from St. Patrick's, well done.
Jacob, the big cats were released since the crowd was nervous. Yes, there was nothing to be worried about, but the crowd was nervous. Yep, so use but again there, Hindi. If you said there was nothing to be worried about, even though the crowd was nervous, you could then swap it around. So there was nothing to be worried about. There was nothing to be worried about, even though the crowd was nervous. You could change that round to, even though the crowd was nervous, there was nothing to be worried about. So Olivia and Jasmine from St. Pat's, the crowd was nervous since the drummer hurt his hand.
Yeah. Well done, Thomas. Oh, Lancaster Road. Is that Tomes? Thomes? Don't know how you say that. Or is it Thomas Ree? Anyway, it's correct, whoever it is.
I suspect it's Thomas.
Yeah.
He's got just a keyboard error there.
St. Patrick's, Matteo. The crowd was nervous because Taylor Swift was late on stage. Spot on. Quite a number of people have written it both ways round. So Thomas had, Mukti has. Well done.
Matilda from John Moore, you've put the subordinating clause at the end, the subordinating conjunction. The goblins attacked while the driver got out of his expensive car. So you don't need the comma. So you only need the comma if you put the subordinating conjunction first. While the driver got out of his expensive car, comma, the goblins attacked. If that makes sense. So you only use it Emily and Leah from St. Patrick's have got it right. Since it got dark, Mr. Toad approached his sports car. Mr. Toad approached his sports car since it got dark. That works. The crowd was nervous as the performer didn't come out yet. Yeah.
I would say it hadn't come out yet.
Hadn't come out yet, yes. A
lot of these are correct.
Leon from Lancaster Road, you've used but, which is the coordinating conjunction, which is fine. Mr. Toad approached in his sports car, but he was embarrassed by Mario's Ferrari. You need a capital F for Ferrari, but you've used an apostrophe for Mario's, which is good. Well done. And because you've used the coordinating conjunction, you can't stick it at the front of the sentence because it wouldn't make sense. You couldn't say, but he was embarrassed by Mario's Ferrari. Mr. Toad approached in his sports car. And Finley from JMPS, Lewis Hamilton took the lead, but Mr. Toad approached in his sports car. I actually might watch a Formula One race if you had Mr. Toad driving in it. It would be quite a thing.
Kieran and Sophie, the crowd went silent as the singer fell off the stage. You've got of the stage, so it needs off, 2 Fs. But other than that, well done. Charlie, although he had his coat on, comma, the boy was still cold.
So Harim from Bolton Parish, you've illustrated my point really nicely. The crowd was nervous because the scores were given out. And then you've done it the other way around. Because the scores were given out, the crowd was nervous. You only need the comma for the second one. If it's the same, if you put the subordinating conjunction last, the crowd was nervous because the scores were given out, you don't need the comma. You only need the comma where you put the subordinating conjunction up front. Because the scores were given out, the crowd was nervous.
Dramatic sneeze there.
Right. We'll
come
come
out,
out
yeah.
this. Yeah, we're getting the idea. So that was coordinating and subordinating conjunctions.
I always think of train junction with the word conjunction, joining things.
Oh. Okay, that's fine, Pi. If it works for you, then that's good.
That's my way of remembering it.
Yes, so we'll move on to the second Padlet.
Adverbials. These are the ones that you can move around. And Sue Palmer, a friend of mine, called them roving reporters. They're reporters because they report on what happens in sentences, a bit like newspaper reporters. They tell us where things happened, when they happened, how people were feeling, what they were doing. So they report on things, and you know it's an adverbial if you can move it around. At the end of the long lane, a unicorn waited. Now, can we move that around? A unicorn at the end of the long lane waited, or a unicorn waited at the end of the long lane. So it's a chunk that we can move around, and it's telling us where. The next one, later that night, Harry went into the forest. Can we move that around? Harry went into the forest later that night. Harry, later that night, went into the forest. Yep, we can move it around. That one's telling us when. And then we got an ED one. Scared of the darkness, Bilbo entered the cave. I love those ones. And the ing ones, which tell us what somebody's doing. Running as fast as she could, Jo escaped the Daleks. And then the old adverb, the straightforward ly one, which you learn first of all, carefully, she turned the handle. And what you'll notice is all of those ones, the fronted ones, they all have a comma after them. So the activity is the one below. So where? So we got Katia slept. So you've got to put on at the front of that sentence, you've got to bung on an adverbial which tells us where. So in the king's castle, comma, Katia slept. Where else might she sleep? Underneath the hedge, comma, Katia slept. And then you've got when. So when did Harry wake up? Is it in the middle of the night, early in the morning, at dusk, in the afternoon? Feeling what? So that's going to be an ED one. Exhausted by chasing Exhausted from chasing the dragon, comma, Hermione sat down. And the doing one about Hagrid, so that's an ing one. Sneezing like a mad thing, Hagrid tiptoed into the room. And then a how one, which is the old adverb. How did Boris score the goal? Elegantly, comma, Boris scored a goal. The tricky bit, John, is to remember to do the comma after the adverbial.
Okay, let's see how we get on. So,
if you follow my example, then you can't go wrong.
no, it's
If you do something else, you run the risk of going wrong.
yeah, it's one of those things. It's I mean, fronted adverbials are one of those things that people get a bit hung up on the phrase fronted adverbial, but actually they're really good for your writing to throw a few of these in, because it just varies the type of sentence, doesn't it, Pi?
It does. Otherwise, you run the risk of writing Boris kicked the ball. Boris ran after the ball. Boris scored a goal. It sounds like machine gun fire. So you vary the openings a bit. It can give good flow to the writing. In the bedroom, Katya slept. That'll do us, Cindy.
Yeah, spot on.
I'm going to click the little heart. Well done. At an abandoned home, Lana slept.
Yeah, well done, Maria. That works. In the castle, Katya slept. There's 2 things wrong with yours, Andrew.
I think there's 3 things, John.
3 things wrong with yours, Andrew. You need to go back and this is where if you're rushing to get it up, you'll make mistakes. So in the castle, comma, Katya is a proper noun. Slept, the end of the sentence.
Now, Ellis, if you look at yours confidently, Hermione sat down. There are 2 things there which need attending to. I'm not going to tell you what they are because I think if you look at it, you know what they are. So nip back and edit it. Remember, editing is good writing behavior. Well done, Maria.
Philip from Lancaster Road, you've forgotten something at the end of your sentence.
Cheekily, Boris scored a goal. Well done, Kia. Mia from Bolton Parish. Come on, look at yours. There's 1 thing, 2 things which you've forgotten. Basically, the sentence is fine. There are 2 technical things that you know, and you could go back and edit.
Mia as well, bit Mia from Bolton Parish. A couple of things there. Feeling brave, Hermione sat down. Hindi from Bolton Parish, that works. On the couch, Katya slept. Good. In his bed, Harry woke up. Maria.
Lucy, and it looks like Gigi at St. Patrick's. Early in the morning, Harry woke up very tired. Yep, reads well. Just have a look at the spelling of tired.
Feeling
Poppy.
All those that you've been talking about, Pi, have all gone back and corrected theirs, which is nice to see.
Yeah, well done, Andrew.
Yeah, excellent work. Because as we say so often, and I do it, and I've written loads of books, it's easy to make mistakes when you're doing this. It's tricky writing.
At the crack of dawn, Harry woke up. Sophia from Bolton Parish. Good. Before his mum came home, Harry woke up. Different Sophia, this one from Lancaster Road. That works. Happily, Boris scored a goal. Artaza. In the car, Rasha slept. That works. Violet. At her best friend's house, Katya slept. Good. Emily from Lancaster Road used the apostrophe correctly.
Amelia, you'd have to turn yours the other way around. On the comfy warm couch, comma, Kayla slept. Finley, well done. Holding on to a torch, Hagrid tiptoed into the room. Like the sentence, Bill's a good picture. There's 1 technical thing you could edit in yours, and you know what it is if you reread it, Finley. Sophia from Bolton Parish. In the old building full of weeds and vines, the adventurer finally rested after a long adventure. Perfectly done. And the thing is, John, to keep practicing these sorts of sentence patterns until it just becomes a natural thing which you do in your writing.
In the kitchen, the family was eating. At the dead of night, Katya slept soundly. Yeah, they worked fine. Whilst playing chess, Hagrid tiptoed down the stairs. That works, Philip. Well done. Ruthlessly, Boris scored a goal. The best kind of football strikers are ruthless.
Yeah, but Sam from St. Patrick's, you've missed something off, Sam. So nip back and edit it. I know you know what it is. In the main, there's the odd little error, but in the main, people are good at this.
Lucy and Gigi at St. Pat's. Tired. Tired.
Yeah. Phoebe from John Moore, you'd have to turn yours round. Into the room, Hagrid, into the room, comma, Hagrid, who was holding a torch, tiptoed.
Jack's got it right. While eating a croissant, Hagrid tiptoed into the room. For some reason, that just amuses me.
Well, he's not. He doesn't look like a croissant eater, does he?
No, he doesn't look like a croissant eater.
With a scorpion kick, Boris scored a goal.
With an amazing Rabona, Boris scored a goal. I bet you don't know what a Rabona is, do you, Pi?
I have no idea. I mean, it sounds a bit like having a Ribena to drink, but
no, it's not. No, it's a particular technique of kicking a football.
Okay.
Which confuses which if you ever try it, the chances are you will end up sitting on your backside looking rather foolish. But I'm sure most of the children can do it really well. Whispering to there's quite a good one from Adil here. Whispering to his friend on the phone. Hagrid tiptoed into the room. A nice long clause there, Adil. That works really well.
You without full stops, Vanessa from Bolton Parish. You need to have a look at that one.
Jacob from John Moore as well.
I spotted another one a moment ago. So just reread whenever you post because it's so easy because there's a lot going on. So easy to make an error.
BB, don't forget your capital letter for a proper noun. As the bull was sniffing him, Harry woke up. Jude from Lancaster Road. That would be a shock.
Oh, is that? I don't know why, but it amuses me that.
With an unstoppable bicycle kick, Boris scored a goal. Boris has scored a lot of different styles of goals. So we'll come out of the Padlet and go to the session page and go up to the top to the session page, and we'll look at the PowerPoint, which is quite a short PowerPoint, but it covers all the points that we've been talking about this morning.
It's a bicycle kick, John.
A bicycle kick, again, a technique fraught with danger, and where you're likely to hurt yourself severely if you attempted it. It's where a player sort of flicks their body into the air and uses their feet to sort of kick the ball back over their heads, and then they land flat on their back usually.
I have seen that. I think I've seen somebody score like that.
I don't think I mean I have on TV, but never.
Yes, I've never live, but on TV I've seen. Yes.
I have.
Okay,
it's
so
one of those that if you try it, the chances are you will look very, very foolish and probably hurt yourself.
I think during these PowerPoints, I think it helps if people make notes because jotting down a little reminder for yourself, because some of this you'll know, but some you might be wobbly on. So jotting down a reminder, I think probably helps you retain it. Anyway, so off we go. So the relative clause. So the main pronouns are which, that, whose, who, and whom. Who is for people, which is for things. And the tricky thing you've got to remember is to get those commas in, John, either side of what you've dropped in, and then remember that that is when what you've dropped in, the clause you've dropped in, is essential to the meaning. So that's the only tricky. The only tricky bits are you've got to remember your commas, and that is exclusively for when it is essential to the meaning.
So in that sentence there, Pi, turn the key that is red to the left.
Yes.
You've not put commas in.
No.
So that's the correct way of doing it if you're using that.
Yes, because
It
it's
relates
essential to the meaning. You're not dropping in extra information.
Yes, turn
You're
the
telling
key.
the reader something that is absolutely essential. You can't
Yeah.
take it out.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So if there was a red key and a blue key, and you turn the key that is red to the left. Okay. So yeah, that makes sense.
Yes. Okay. So conjunctions. Yeah. What I meant about train junctions is that the train lines, sometimes they meet at a junction, don't they? And there has to be a sort of joining bit where you join one thing to another. So and, but, and so, or, and so, those are the easy ones. And those are the what they call coordinating ones. And they just give you a couple of sentences. Could be groups of words. It could say, I like coffee and tea. It's still a conjunction. You're joining the coffee and the tea together. But in this instance, we've got two clauses. I like tea, I like coffee. You can swap them around. I like coffee and I like tea. They're of equal weight. But what you can't do, and John spotted this, you can't say, and I like coffee, I like tea. That is really interesting that you can't move that clause to the front of the sentence. But with the subordinating ones, you can. So I've given a list of the most common, and they can add the information on at the beginning or the end. And you can move those around, as we were seeing. People were pretty good with that, which means they've practiced it a lot in school and they're getting the hang of it, which is excellent.
Okay, so that's yeah, you've got that. When it grew dark, can move about quite nicely. But the thing to remember is the comma. Quite a few people were putting comma in both.
Yes.
They lit by a comma when it grew dark,
yeah.
But the comma only goes in when you move the subordinating conjunction to the front of the sentence. It's the only time when you use the comma.
Okay, so adverbials, these are our roving reporters, and they tell the reader things like where did it happen, when, how did it happen, how much was there, how often, how long, why did it happen, what was going on. So I got three little examples there. Slowly, Kabir ate his lunch. Late last night, Kabir ate a melon. After eating the melon, Kabir slept. So slowly is a how one. How did he do it? Late last night is when. And even after eating the melon, Kabir slept. That's a when one as well. And they're at the front, so you can call them fronted adverbials. Can we move them around? Because adverbials you can move around. So Kabir slowly ate his lunch. Kabir ate his lunch slowly. You can move it around and it's telling us how he did something. It's reporting on the sentence. So it's an adverbial.
Okay.
And they're quite straightforward in a way once you've got a grip on it. So they help us vary the openings of the sentences, which is the point you were making, John, about your writing. By the lake, an ogre waited. In the morning, Harry woke up. Excited by the idea, Bilbo laughed. Creeping slowly, Jo left the chamber. Eagerly, she bit the donut. And I think as soon as people start putting those adverbials at the front of the sentences, it improves the writing. It helps you write, as long as it makes sense, it hikes the standard of the writing up. So
what you don't want to do, Pi, is do it in every single sentence.
Yes. I once saw that I was in Sheffield, and one of the list of things they were supposed to be doing was putting adverbs at the front of sentences. And this kid had. And he put 13, he had 13 sentences in his story, and each sentence started with an adverb, an ly one. And he'd done what he was being told, but of course it sounded silly. So yeah, it's got to make sense and it's got to flow. Now this last bit
Which is where rereading comes into its own, doesn't it, Pi?
Yeah. When you reread, it should sound like something out of a book. Now, these are a little bit more tricky. They make a link from one sentence to the next. I've given a list of these ones. The Romans ate dormice. That is actually true. They did eat dormice. I think they, because dormice are very, very small. My memory is that they cooked them, they roasted them, and they ate them. Wouldn't have been much of a mouthful because they are.
You're old. If your memory is old, does that mean you were around when the Romans were, Pi?
I am that old. I did. I once taught a class. I once taught a class, and we were doing some work on Romans, and they ate a lot of garlic, the Romans. And one child, whose name shall remain unknown to everyone, I brought in some garlic so we could, have a look at it and smell it and all of that sort of business. And he ate the whole lot. He ate 5 cloves of garlic and then was violently sick. I've never forgotten it. Anyway.
Oh dear.
Yes. Oh
Well,
dear.
it reminds me, I took a class on a class trip to Chester once to look at the Roman ruins, and I asked a boy on the bus on the way back to school, and I said, "What did you think of the trip?" And he said, "It was great, but I'm really disappointed we didn't see any Romans."
Ah, yes. Sadly, no more.
Yes.
Okay. So let's get back to this. So these are special adverbials. They come at the front of the sentences and they make a link in terms of meaning from one to the other. The Romans ate dormice. Furthermore, they ate lots of garlic. So that furthermore is building on the previous sentence. You look at the next one. The blue whale is the largest mammal in the world. By contrast, so it's making a link from one sentence into the next. The bumblebee bat is the smallest, weighing only 2 grams. So the bumblebee bat is a tiny, tiny thing. So those ones, and they're really good in non-fiction. So if you look at them, you've got moreover, additionally, also. So those ones allow you to add on an extra fact. First, next, later on, after that. But the really big ones, I think, are when you do a contrast with, on the other hand, by contrast, those two. As a result of this, so swallows fly very rapidly and can sleep while they are flying. As a result of this, they are able to make a massive journey from Northern Africa to England. So those ones are very special. So we're on to the last one now, John. Padlet 3.
Padlet. So.
And this is actually practicing those ones I was just talking about. The Romans ate dormice, full stop. Furthermore, they also ate garlic. So what we've got here is 4 sentences. Our school has a hall. The Thames is wide. That's the River Thames in London. The blue whale is colossal. Most birds eat seeds. So if you take our school has a hall, and we've got to use one of those adverbials, one of those red ones. Our school has a hall. Furthermore, we also have a swimming pool. Or additionally, we have a playing field.
Okay.
So you've got to try using one of those. You're going to have to think. And of course, the other big thing to remember, John, is what do you get after the adverbial, the red bit?
Comma.
Comma. You've got to have a comma. So write both sentences, copy my blue one, then choose one of those red adverbials and finish your sentence, but make sure you've got a comma after that adverbial. Now, he's a little harder because the 2 sentences have got to link together in some way.
I'm going to have a go at one Pi. So I'm going to first I'll do the blue whale. Whoops. The blue whale is colossal. is my sentence. And then I'm going to choose, I'm going to make it deliberately hard on myself, full stop. And I'm going to choose as a result. Riley, have a look at yours straight away. You need to split it up. So the first part is a sentence on its own. So Finley, you need to look at yours because you've not used one of those adverbials.
Got to use one of the red ones, Finley.
Result.
You're sort of there almost. Ibrahim, the Thames is wide. By contrast, the River Nile is long. I think if you want a contrast, you've got the Thames is wide. By contrast, the local stream, you'd have to have the opposite of wide.
So quite a few people are not splitting. So the first sentence stays as a sentence. When you're using the adverbial, so Adil's got it right. Our school has a hall, full stop. Additionally, comma, it has a football pitch. There's a lot of people so Christopher, Dylan, Lily, you've got it right for Bolton Parish. Quite some people are not using the list of adverbials that we've given you.
Yeah, I'd say we're about 90% of post-its coming in are not using a full stop in terms of splitting the sentence.
And a lot of people using because, and because, if you look at the list, because isn't in that list of words. So it's furthermore, moreover, additionally, also. On the other hand, first, by contrast, in other words, as a result. So you've got to use one of those. So Riley, you need to turn yours into 2 sentences. The Thames is wide. By contrast, the River Nile is long. Yeah, that works really well, Ibrahim.
Our school has a hall. Furthermore, we also have a science lab. Well done.
Bella, you need to turn yours into 2 sentences.
Well done, Ibrahim.
Zara, you need to turn yours into 2 sentences, and don't forget the comma after the adverbial. Halle, hall. I'm not sure how you pronounce your name from Lancaster Road. Our school has a hall. As a result, it has a playground. Now that doesn't really make sense because just because you have a hall doesn't mean that you also have a playground. So as a result is a tricky one. So you've got to use it in the right place. Our school, so Katie's got it right. Our school is small. As a result, we only have a small hall. That works. Now, Cheyenne, you haven't got a verb in your second sentence, so it's not a sentence. And you haven't put a full stop on either. Our school has a hall, full stop. Also, it has lots of classrooms. So you need the comma there to, and you need to put in a verb.
Ibrahim, most birds eat seeds. Furthermore, they also eat insects, not ate insects. Sareem, our school has a hall. Additionally, it has a football pitch. Well done. That flows nicely.
We're still getting 50% not using a full stop to separate.
So if your second sentence starts with one at which it will start with one of those red adverbials, that's the beginning of a new sentence.
So Lacey from Lancaster Road's got it right. Most birds eat seeds, full stop. On the other hand, comma, some eat bugs. And Ibrahim has done it a different way. Most birds eat seeds. Furthermore, they also eat insects. They'd be eat, not ate. Ibrahim.
The Mukti, well done. The blue whale is colossal. As a result, it has to eat a lot to survive. And Elisa and Salim, the blue whale is colossal. As a result, they have a big appetite.
Ramatalahi, who's a fantastic name, that one, Ramo. I bet your friends call you Ramo, do they? The Thames is wide. Moreover, it is not a busy place. So that bit works fine. You've missed a capital letter at the start of your sentence. So you go and edit that. Aliza and Salim from Bolton Parish. The blue whale is colossal. As a result, they have a big appetite. That's good. And then Mukti as well from Bolton Parish. The blue whale is colossal. As a result, it has to eat a lot to survive. Leah from St. Patrick's. The Thames is wide. Full stop. Furthermore, you've missed your comma out. It is dirty, but that works well.
Eliza from Lancaster Road. Our school has a hall. Additionally, it has a large field. Fantastic, except additionally needs the comma and you've got the full stop at the end. So you've possibly got time to nip back and edit that one.
I have an Xbox, full stop. Additionally, I have a laptop. So an Xbox is a proper noun, so it needs capital X. Although it's probably one of these things, like iPads, where they break the rules and don't. It's a small I, capital P. Now, where did that come? They've invented their own grammar rule.
We probably need to come out, John.
We do. We need to come out and have a very quick look at the
final task
blog challenge.
Yeah. Now that needs some practice, that bit.
Yes, it does.
Using those ones are a little bit harder, so it needs a bit more practice, that one.
Blog challenge.
Okay, now I've actually in the teacher's notes, there's quite a few little activities which people can use. This one is about adverbials. When, in bracket, the bits in brackets suggest the adverbial when. So that would be late last night. The teacher stopped where in the playground, picked up the book cautiously and ran where doing what into the staff room screaming, at long last the new national curriculum, whatever it is. My example in blue was in the morning, a teacher stopped at the garage, picked up the book excitedly and ran towards school, clutching Gary's lost homework. So you fill in the when, the where, the how, and the where and doing what. They're all adverbials, and you end up with interesting sentences. Actually, if you come out of that and go into the teacher's notes, we can have a quick, we've just got 2 minutes, so we've possibly got just a moment where we can look at, I'm sure I did a few other little activities. Right at the end somewhere there'll be. Go back one. Now, that one doesn't seem to have instructions on it, but no doubt that first word, subordinating. Okay, so that's just using the subordinating conjunctions, the ones in red to extend the sentences. If you go to number 6, that will be dropping up. Yeah, one above that, John. Above that one. That one is dropping in relative clauses. The paragraph dropping in relative clause.
I didn't spot that page break there. I should have spotted that when I edited the notes.
Yeah, so that's dropping in relative clauses. The who, the which, and possibly the that.
The parrot who was hungry. Which was hungry.
Yeah, flew. And then the next page down, John, 7, is adding on using subordinating conjunctions. So those are the ones in red. And then the final page, 8, is the adverbials and creating fronted adverbials. And I've just given an example with the cat sat down.
Okay, so but then we can go back to the
challenge was that one there, which is quite fun to do.
Yes, because you could probably have
all sorts of things can happen.
If you had 120 children, you probably have 120 different sentences at the end of the activity. So let's see what you come up with. So that's it for this week. We'll be back now. Next week we're on Monday. So I forgot to mention it to the group first thing this morning, so I'll make sure I send an email to them. So next week we are on Monday, I think it's the 10th of June.
Because on the Tuesday I'm in Birmingham.
Yeah, so we're here on Monday, same time, but just it's on the Monday and not the Tuesday. So we will see you next Monday for week 6 of Teaching Live Grammar.
Yep,
So
well done, everyone.
us this week. Well done, and keep practicing, I think is the key to grammar. Practice, practice, practice. A bit like bicycle kicks and Rabonas. The more you practice them, the better you'll get at it.
I'm not doing any of that.
No, me neither. Definitely not.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Well done, everyone. Bye.